Good morning, everyone. Joe Madden here, joined by Jay Kornegay of the SuperBook Westgate. This is the Joe Madden Sports Show. Excited to be here, Jay. Welcome back.
Good to see you, Joe. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a hot minute, but I thought I'd give you some time over the summer to get some family vacation time and hit that golf course. I know that you've been hitting it lately. How's your golf game going?
Oh, my motto is results may vary. Yeah, you never know. But I just go out there and have fun. It's a good decompressor for me and my friends, and we have a good group out there. We have a really good time.
Yeah, I think you need a golf shirt that says results may vary, Jay. I love that motto.
I know. We thought about that. I should get some hats and shirts made with that because it's so true. And we live by it, and it's been our motto for many, many years because golf is tough. It's, but we don't really take it that seriously. So we have fun and give each other a hard time, take each other's money, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Talking about taking money. It seems like the books would have killed it yesterday. How are things going for the SuperBook?
Well, I can see why people would think that when you look at the results and you see the Chiefs go down, you see the Bills go down, and yes, those were our two biggest games, the Dolphins winning and, of course, the Colts beating the Chiefs. Unfortunately, there's a few other games out there that weren't so kind to the bookmakers, and the Bengals, the Ravens, the Eagles are becoming really popular now. They're right up there in the top three as far as popularity. So we won, our share. We lost our share. I would probably categorize it as an average Sunday. So we'll take it. No complaints here, but just trying to explain the results. You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you guys do on that Raiders game? Because the Raiders only coming in as 1.5-point favorites there. It looked like they were the team to get the win. 0-3 now on the season.
Yeah, that's a rough start for the local team here, and you're starting to hear some mumbling. But, their defense is very questionable. And just looking at that game last night and looking at some of the top contenders that are out there, everybody thinks about the offense for the Chiefs and the Bills, but the defense, I think those teams, Chiefs and the Bills, have pretty decent defenses.
Yeah.
And then some of the other contenders have very good defenses. The Raiders just can't control their defense. They really give up huge chunks of yardage, whether it's through the air or on the ground. Real unfortunate for them, local team, but just looking at these scores, Joe, I mean, the NFL is so tight.
Yeah,
There's so much parity. You have, this upper tier level and this huge middle tier of teams, and then maybe just a few that are probably on the low end. But the parity, which we always, as bookmakers, consider our friend, parity is always our friend. And it's very difficult to predict these games, week in, week out.
Absolutely. Now, when I looked at those lines yesterday for the Chiefs game versus the Colts and the Jaguars versus the Chargers, those lines didn't make sense to me. I thought both of those teams should have been bigger favorites. What did the books know? Because it felt like a trap. I stayed off the dog. I wish I hit them on that money line. What did you guys know there that you made those lines so small? Of course, making the public jump all over that. Like, lots of people were jumping on the tweet saying only 5.5-point favorites against a Colts team that got blown out the week before.
Yeah, I think that's one of the faults for, let's say, amateur handicappers. What they do is they fall into that trap of what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
And they look at last week's results, and that just kind of sticks in their mind. But you got to remember, heading into the season, the Colts were above average team. Okay, we're finding out the Jaguars are a little better than most anticipated. Yeah. So that blowout loss against the Jags, you could probably take that with a grain of salt because that's the NFL right now. There's just, again, so much parity that I guess the odds makers looked at that game and said, well, we know the Colts are not that bad. General public, their views would say, wow, they just got blown out by the Jags. They're going to get killed by the Chiefs. But you got to look deeper than that. You got to look past just what happened, last week and look at the team itself. And then, I thought Herbert was, he definitely wasn't going to be 100%. But when we saw him play yesterday, he definitely wasn't 100%. And it was almost, I'm not going to say they quit. Yeah. But they certainly lacked energy yesterday. It almost felt like Herbert's teammates looked at that and said, wow, our quarterback's not 100%. We don't really have a shot here. And then Jags got a little swag about them. Yeah. And they're playing very well on both sides of the ball. So a very underrated team moving on.
Yeah, they definitely are an underrated team. One for everyone to look out for. The Chargers game killed me yesterday. I didn't want Herbert on the field. As a fan of the Chargers, I worried about his health. We then lost Joey Bosa and Slater in that game as well. Just not a good day for the Chargers, but looking ahead, hopefully things turn back around and Herbert gets healthy.
Yeah, you could really see it. There's at times he made some good plays, but he definitely wasn't himself yesterday. And, that team pretty much lives and dies by him. And I think the Chargers will bounce back. Actually, if you were going to look and handicap these teams, anybody that gets blown out the week before is someone that I would probably be looking at. It's going to be a long week of practice, a little bit more focus, especially a team with expectations like the Colts and the Chargers. They both get blown out and the Colts bounce back. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers bounce back next week.
Okay, I would love to see it. Jay, let's turn to Monday Night Football tonight. We have divisional rivalry game with the Cowboys and the New York Giants tonight. Giants 2-0 for the first time in 6 seasons. Where's the book sitting with this one? Who do you guys need to win it?
Well, there's no doubt we need the Giants tonight, Joe. There's plenty of action on the Cowboys, despite their injury woes. Looks like Gallup's not going to play. Schultz will probably be a game-time decision. They caught a couple of banged-up players also on the defensive side. And, of course, Dak is out. Cooper Rush played very well last week, but, going on the road, this is going to be a very emotional game for the Giants because it's the Ring of Honor game. So they have a lot of, past Giants that will be honored tonight, and they will be there. So I think it's going to be a very tough environment for Cooper Rush and company to go in there and get this. But I can understand why people, kind of migrate to the Cowboys a little bit, especially after that performance last week. Again, weighing too much on the week. But I think this is going to be a very emotional game in New York. Watch out for them. I did hear a stat that was very interesting. The Giants haven't scored a first half touchdown in 6 games.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. I didn't know that. Someone told me that this morning, and I was like, no, I never heard of that. So I can understand why the total is very low, 39 and a half's out there. Very low total for tonight's game. But after watching last night's game with my Broncos, I guess it can happen. You can have very little scoring in the NFL, with teams that are struggling offensively.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you guys seeing money on either side of that total coming in?
A little bit on the under. I just saw some movement around the market. Some of those 39 and a halves dropped down to 39. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if it drops down a little bit more, but maybe to 38 and a half. We'll see, but I don't think it's going to drop dramatically. Maybe another half point.
Okay. Jay, we're going to talk about the SuperContest, but before we do that, you brought up your Denver Broncos. Not as a bookmaker, as a fan, what did you think of that game last night?
Oh, as a fan, it's very, very frustrating watching this team. I don't understand the play calling. I don't understand the lack of organization in being on the same page. It feels like the whole team or whole offensive team they're just on different pages. I kept on commenting to my friends and family last night that their offense looks like 101 because I don't know how many times the Broncos on first down ran up the middle.
Yeah,
it was a very conservative. I didn't see any rollouts. I didn't see any play action. I believe Russell is very good when he rolls out. We didn't see any of that last night. And so I don't know. They were talking about how long it took Aaron Rodgers to adapt to this offense, but I really don't see it. I think it's a very generic, bland offense that's pretty easy to defend when they pretty much come straight at you like the Broncos have been over the first 3 games, and that's why the teams have really stopped this offense. But drop passes, Russell hasn't been sharp. There's a lot of factors. So as a fan, it's very frustrating, Joe. But they're 2-1. All right.
Yeah, they are. They're 2-1. But Russell's getting booed even by his own fans.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're booing Russell and they're booing the offense.
Absolutely.
It's not just Russell. But the lack of imagination on the offensive side is really confusing to me. I said, I guess if I was an owner, I would never hire an offensive coordinator that is coming from a team that has a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah.
Because that Hall of Fame quarterback makes, those coaches look so good. And Aaron Rodgers is one of the best of all time. And it makes you wonder, if Hackett is going to last more than one season there.
Yeah, it will be really interesting to see. He's going to have to start making some big changes if he wants to stay next season. Let's turn to the SuperContest, Jay. I know you don't have updated results after yesterday, but how were things looking going into yesterday for it?
Yeah, we had the SuperContest. We had 2 contestants that were 10-0 going into week 3. And then we had 28 people going 9-1 heading into yesterday. The gold, we had only 1 person 9-1, 7 people at 8-2. So, the SuperContest, as you know, Joe, we have all these in-season contests. So we're finishing the first contest up after 3 weeks because we have 6 3-week contests. We have 3 6-week contests and 2 9-week contests for the SuperContest now, and they're very, very popular. Fans and contestants really love them. It gives everybody a chance, even though you start off maybe rough in the first couple of weeks. There's a new contest that starts next week, so yeah, it's all included. But it's going pretty well. A lot of people we talk to contestants all the time. People really love those in-season contests.
Yeah, I love it. So after tonight's game, you're going to have money going out the door then to the winners of the first week or first 4 weeks? 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Yes, 3 weeks. Yes. So I think the winner, I believe, gets 50,000. So
wow.
It's a nice little chunk of change. Yeah. And we pay out the top 3 for the 3 contests, and it just starts over again. And the 6-week contests pay a little bit more, and of course the 9 weeks pay a little bit more than that. I think the 9 weeks they get 100,000 for the winner. We pay the top 4. The 6-week contest they get 75,000 to the winner. We pay the top 3 or 4. And but again, we try to spread it around a little bit, but it's not peanuts. There's a good change there.
That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about the Reboot as well that people can still get into.
Yeah, the Reboot, we're still taking interest for. It's a second half contest. You don't have to be in the original SuperContest to enter this. Anyone can enter. We'll take those entries up until 3 p.m. Pacific time on November 12th. And again, that's for the second half of the season. So if you're in another contest, or even if you're in the SuperContest, you're off to a rough start, you have another chance with our SuperContest Reboot. And again, that's from weeks 9 on. Another popular option that you have here at the SuperBook.
That's fantastic, Jay. Thank you for breaking that down for us. Let's talk some NHL Futures. Who do you guys have to take the Stanley Cup? Who is the top contenders here?
Well, it's funny. I watched the first exhibition game last night. It was between I just kind of breezed through it, but the Knights played the Avs, and you just hear about the Avs, and you just hear all these names. Oh my gosh, they're so loaded again, and it makes sense. They're overwhelming favorite heading into the season. We have the Avs at 7-2. The Maple Leafs, Joe.
Okay.
At 8-1. Panthers and Lightning at 10-1. Hurricanes 12. Flames, Oilers, Rangers, and the Knights all 16-1. So you got the Avs, and then you have about a pretty decent amount of teams in that second tier that could challenge and rise to the occasion. But right now, the Avs look so good. I think the only thing that would probably slow them down is, maybe they get banged up a little bit or something like that. But looking at that roster, they're so good.
Yeah, that team is completely stacked. Now, we did see preseason kick off this weekend. Are you guys taking any action on preseason?
We do with the Knights, and that's about it.
Okay.
We do that just for the community, for the local fans, and we're looking into that into the other jurisdictions as well.
Okay. Well, it is exciting. I can't wait for the NHL season to kick off. When it does, definitely going to have you back on to talk some more NHL betting. Joe, but I want to thank you. I've got a fly in my studio. I apologize.
I was ready to, help you out a little bit there, because I thought it was on my screen for a second.
Like, what is happening here? So the weather is getting cooler. The flies are trying to get in every time I open that door. But Jay, it was a pleasure having you here. Where can people find you on social media?
They can find me on Twitter, Joe, at Kornegay. They can DM me if they have any questions. I'm pretty good about getting back to them. Maybe, give me a little time to get back to you, but I will get back to you. I promise that.
And Jay, I want to say I love the TikToks and everything that SuperBook is putting out. You've been a star in those, so keep up the great work.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess, that's one way to look at it. My friends look at it another way. But appreciate that, Joe.
Our friends are always our hardest critics. But Jay, thank you so much for joining me here today. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.